song.
Pick the song, Luke. Just pick the song. Hello. Sorry, I don't know. I wasn't in the... Hello. Welcome to another episode of Improperly Packaged, a show where we unbox topics related to movies, TV, games, whatever. I am Jordan. With me is Luke. How are you doing today, Luke?
I am Luke. I'm doing well.
Yes, you are.
Welcome to the show, everyone.
Woo!
Oh,
Rover...
you like peaked there.
Sorry, did I? Oh, man, I need to
You went too high. You went too high for Zoom.
Sorry. Okay, so hold on. I'll explain. I'm a little tired today. I'm kind of overcompensating, but like my settings were off because so I started a new job this week and I'm working from home. See, there's a
congrats.
Check out the boxes. That's where all my equipment came
boxes
in.
on boxes.
So it's very strange because what I had, this is my home computer, and then I have my work computer right here. It's out
look
of
at you, fancy man with the L-shaped desk.
It's a weird feeling though to do this in the same place that you work during the day. It's a strange feeling. I just look at different posters. I'm like looking at Mario.
You need to have like LEDs. You change to a different mood.
Yeah, and it's like it's party time.
Turn on some Island Boy music. I don't know.
Island
That's
Boy.
not relaxing at all. That's
No.
just stressful whenever I hear that.
Don't set me on edge. I don't want that. I don't want it at all. I'm tired though. You know, when you start a new job, like so much of it's just like you're listening and just taking in so much information. Right. Yeah, and you're like, come on, get it.
Come on, Jordan.
I'm getting it. Yeah.
Right.
But it's exhausting because it's just like information just all day long. And so we're going to have a really good show. Just like school.
Just like school. And that I do not want to go back to those times.
No.
Those were hard.
I really don't.
So much reading.
No, it's all on you. If you don't do good at your job, you don't get a house anymore. And
that little thing. Yep.
Yeah, at least your parents would at least let you stay, presumably, at their own home. But I don't know.
Yep, that's life.
I don't know what I'm saying.
What are you drinking there, fella?
It's another flavor from the Holiday Truly line. It's a cran orange sparkler. Now, if you're saying to yourself...
That's a lot of things.
Yeah, it's a lot of things. If you're saying to yourself, now how is that Christmas related? I don't know.
A good point.
It's really
sounds like 4th of July with cranberry.
Yeah, I mean, when you looking at the Bud Light flavors that had like eggnog seltzer, it's like, no. Like there were some truly wretched flavors.
Was that last year you were doing that?
No.
You were trying those?
That was this year with the fall selections.
Oh, that's right.
I still have like 3 or 4 of those toasted marshmallow flavors in the mini fridge out there. I don't know what to do. I don't really want to pour them down the sink, but at the same time, I'm like, you got to really struggle through them. You got to do it. Just you really struggle through each sip. There's also another forsaken flavor that I don't like in there. It's from another box. It is cucumber lime.
Oof.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Anytime the drink has cucumber, I don't know. Gatorade did one with cucumber. It's like, what?
Ugh.
That's not something I want to drink. I don't mind eating cucumbers, but I don't want to drink them.
Some people love cucumbers, like cucumber infused water. It's like, I don't want that.
There's a lot of better things to infuse your water with, in my opinion.
Right. It sounds like a much reasonable drink than toasted marshmallow, but not for me.
Yeah. Marshmallows are for eating.
Yeah.
Not drinking.
Not drinking. Not drinking. How you doing, Luke? How's your week going?
It's going pretty good. You know, working on some projects, getting ready for Christmas, buying a few gifts. Just doing the Christmas thing. Been watching some stuff, as I'll talk about.
See anything crazy? See any UFOs flying around?
Not that kind of watching.
Oh. I mean, that would be something if you brought it up like this.
The Christmas star.
Like, oh yeah, I did.
It's a freaking UFO.
I forgot about
that. Over the power plant.
That's not the Christmas star.
That's not the Christmas star. Don't light that match.
Excellent.
Everybody go back and watch Christmas Vacation, and at the end you'll realize what we're talking about.
Right. And also we have this podcast that we completed called Breakfast and Candles. If you don't know about it, check it out. I
love the name.
It's great. That I love that podcast. It's great. I think back to it, I'm like, yeah. Like I'll look through, like I'll remember some of those movies. I'll be like, that was fun. John Hughes movies. We definitely reviewed National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation towards the end there.
Yep, our Christmas special.
Oh yeah.
It was fun to do the bad ones, really. Those are always the ones you kind of look back and like, oh man,
Dutch
was so bad. I love it.
Dutch was a big one.
Well, that school reunion one was just abysmal.
That is one. That's just the one of the worst.
Gosh.
I don't. Oh, all right. What have been watching / playing this week / listening to? Did you go first?
It's you.
I think it's you. All right. So I think last year, I think I recommended a Newfound Glory song, a Christmas Newfound Glory song called "December's Here." That's a really good one. This year, I'm gonna recommend Holiday Records.
Not recommend it.
I changed my mind. I turned around on it. No,
I'm a new man.
I'm disgusted with my old self. No, Holiday Records by Newfound Glory, another Christmas song. I swear they have like probably 10 of them, maybe each. That'll be the new tradition. Now, every year, I recommend a Newfound Glory Christmas song.
I hope they keep making them so you can do that.
I hope so too. Keep it going, Newfound Glory. I like you guys. But yeah, check it out. It's just fun stuff. It's great.
Heck yeah.
How about you, Luke? What have you been listening to?
I have one that came out a few years back called Christmas Valentine from Ingrid Michaelson featuring Jason Mraz. And it's a real mellow, I mean, if you know Ingrid Michaelson and you know Jason Mraz, like you can kind of imagine what that mashup will look like, and it's definitely that very mellow, like kind of a love song, but very like I'm with you, kind of like Jason Mraz stuff.
What song is it? What's it called?
Christmas Valentine. Oh, it's just a sweet, soft Christmas song, and
that's what I want.
I just really love those two, and Jason Mraz. I mean, he's always got a soft spot in my heart. I think he's like the most amazing voice in the freaking world.
He's freaking great.
And he's just a great artist. So
maybe underrated. I don't know. I think I could say that.
I think so.
He's dipped into being underrated, like yeah.
Like I'm not a big fan of where he went like musically, but the talent level and like the songs are still great. It's just like where they went less in the like emo like love category and more into the like hippie like world loving kind of stuff, which is perfectly fine. It's just I don't know. I don't enjoy it as much as his old stuff. He also, since we're talking about Jason Mraz, he redid his like 2001 album, like he re-recorded it. So yeah, if you're in the mood for Jason Mraz, go and listen to that. Just came out. It's called Jason Mraz Live and Acoustic 2001, the 20th anniversary edition.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Well, Luke, I've been watching and playing a lot. I mean, I had the week off last week, and, so here I am. I watched the entire first season of Arcane on Netflix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard it recommended.
Yeah. Arcane League of Legends. So I don't know the first thing about League of Legends. Like, it's not. I know it's not for me.
That's what I've heard from other people that recommended it as well.
Yeah, I'm right there. I am right there. I watched the entire thing in a day. Yeah, I had the day off. Okay, back to work. Okay, but yeah, you know what? It's what everyone says. It's just super, super solid. The story's great. Characters are great. The animation. Honestly, I was kind of like, wow, this is Netflix animated series. They're usually like, especially like these ones that they're not just like sniping from Japan. They're just like the American ones. Usually there's this real cheapness to them. Even when they're good, there's sometimes like a cheap sheen to them where you're like, yeah, it's good for Netflix. Wow. It's like almost like imagine the animation for What If, but like way better. Like it's really good animation, and it's some good action. It's just good lore, like good, like world building. It's all around a great like sci-fi fantasy kind of thing. It's like steampunk fantasy, I'd say, is what the world is like. I mean, I'm describing a world that probably the League of Legends people know so well, but for me, it's like my introduction. I knew it was like fantasy-ish, but I didn't know it was like this kind of steampunk thing where people had like these big guns and all this stuff. And
League of Legends is top-down MMO, right?
it's a MOBA, right? It's top down for sure. And it's like a MOBA, which it's not my thing. I don't, we'll continue.
I don't know. It's just that point of view and like that way. It's like, I don't know. It seems like it's hard to connect with characters when you're like from that perspective. It reminds me of like the old Grand Theft Autos that were like top down. It's like, I don't feel like you connected with that character at all until GTA 3. So it's, I don't know. I wonder how much people who are fans of it even like connect to the lore, and it's just more of like, oh yeah, I love the gameplay. I don't know that. It's just that's what, like, when I see League of Legends, I figure that's what the draw is. It's like great gameplay. That's, a lot of fun.
Yeah, and that's I'm curious to know, like, because I didn't even again, like you, I'm like, I don't know how much the story even plays into League of Legends, or if it's just a bunch of text boxes with just like an excuse to blow each other to smithereens. I don't know. But from what I kind of looked it up afterwards, from this is a prequel, really. There's apparently a couple really big characters, or a few really big characters that are the stars of this series. Well, the first season, I guess. It's going to continue better after that freaking ending. But yeah, it's a prequel, but I wouldn't have known. I have no idea. I mean, the good thing about it is, like, I never felt like, I'm sure there's tons of references, I'm sure, but I never felt like there was, anything where it's like I wasn't in on it. I always felt like this was self-contained. Like, if there wasn't a pre-existing lore or anything, it could have passed as that. Like, if I didn't know it was League of Legends, I would have just thought it was, a new animated series on Netflix.
Right.
Yeah, it is
like Invincible really or something.
Exactly. Yeah. It's really, really good. Yeah, it's great. It's what everyone says it is. Yeah. Sorry.
You wonder if it's like, because this is Amazon, right?
Netflix.
Oh, this is Netflix. Yeah. So it's like Invincible's Amazon. So I wonder if this is like maybe a response kind of.
Maybe.
Or was it Hulu?
Yeah, no, you're right. Amazon is, I know there are too many. Invincible is Amazon.
Yeah. So I wonder if, like, maybe it was one of those things, like, maybe we should look around, try to fill in that little competition there.
Yeah.
You got to think these studios are, like, always, like, comparing. Like, you would have to think that at this point, like, Amazon's looking at Squid Games and being like, do we have something to respond, maybe?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know that you could ever get that popular again, but.
Yeah. Right. I mean, I'm glad to see it with American animation too, because like adult American animation, it's just not as prevalent.
Yeah.
Like anime is like so big, and it's like, it's like it's like the name in adult animation, but there's only like things here and there that are American made, and so I'm glad to see like these American studios like stepping it up, and this is some really impressive stuff. So yeah, I hope it inspires more and be like, hey, there could be a market for this. Just make it really good, just take it seriously, put some effort into that animation. Because it reminded me in a way where it's like, sometimes that's the problem with like a lot of American animation series, I would say specifically. Sometimes it just, again, has like a cheapness to it, to where it's like, sometimes when I'm watching anime and I'm like, how can they make it this good? Like, how can they make the animation so good every week? And so it's good to see something where I kind of feel that way about Arcane, where I'm like, how is this so good? It's like the filmmaking is good, to where it's like, this isn't just amazing animation. It's like the cinematography, I guess. I know it's there's no camera there, but it's just feels so on point.
Oh no, you're still making choices with that kind of thing.
Yeah, like color grading and all that stuff.
Just you have even more choices, honestly.
Yes,
you can do whatever you want with animation.
You're 100% right. Moving on though. So I saw it. I saw we were like, okay, we're just kind of going through these Christmas things that the new ones that pop up. I don't know, man. So it's time for Home Sweet Home Alone. This is a Disney Plus original movie.
So, just quick off the bat, I've actually heard both sides of it.
Okay.
My sister really enjoyed it, and CJ told me it was the worst thing he's ever seen.
All right. Well, here it is. You're going to hear another side.
Here comes the third side.
Here comes the third side. So all in all, I didn't like it.
Okay.
I didn't like it, but there's something there. I will say there's like some huge miscalculations that like really just put the movie in a place where it can't recover from it. Okay, so like for instance, like there's a pretty like the adult cast. It's pretty good. They focused a lot on them. There's some funny stuff where I was actually laughing like pretty regularly through the movie. I'm like, that's funny. That's really funny. Oh my gosh. I'm laughing with this movie. And the kid isn't terrible. Like there's every now and then there's a kid and they're just awful. Like the kid who's supposed to be, he's not Kevin, but he's supposed to be the next Kevin or whatever. Max in this one. And he's not horrible, but he's not good enough. You know, he's just not quite good enough is the problem. And the main issue with this movie is the story. I mean, they set up this story that there's no way you can get behind it. Like I don't care. This is Home Sweet Home Alone. I can talk a little bit more openly about it. I mean, like so the people who are trying to.
Did you just put Christmas lights? I just noticed you had Christmas lights.
I put
Has it been there the whole time?
No, they haven't. I was fooling around. I put them with
I was like, what the?
Oh. Fooling around with Zoom effects.
Jordan has Christmas lights on his Zoom. Everyone, that's
yeah,
what I'm
baby, woo!
No, I actually strung these up just now, Luke. You didn't see that?
They look incredibly fake. I'm sorry. I did the best I could in the
they
short
look
amount
so
of time.
Perfect.
Way too perfect, you might say. But the big problem here is with you have with the Home Alone movies, you have Harry and Marv, right? The wet bandits or the sticky bandits, depending on which one you're watching. They're just a bunch of bad guy lunkheads. You're perfectly fine with them getting the ever living crap beat out of them in the third act, right? It's like you don't feel bad for them, you just laugh. It's funny, it's good slapstick, and it's a bunch of ooh kind of moments. This one, there is no it's almost like painful to watch these two because they set them up, the two who are doing the home invasion.
Are they people you recognize?
Well,
those two guys.
Well, no, it's a girl and guy this time. It's a husband and wife combo.
Yeah, well,
Ellie Kemper, is that her name?
Okay.
Yeah, from I forget her. I forget what show she's from. I mean, The Office, of course, but Kimmy Schmidt or whatever. And I don't really know her husband. I know he's in things, but I don't really. I couldn't really place him.
Oh, but it is her husband
in the movie. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, okay. I thought you were saying it is her husband, like he actually is in it, and she. Okay, yeah.
I'll look it up right freaking now. His name
actually is what?
No, it's Rob Delaney.
Oh yeah.
How about that?
Okay.
So okay, this is the main problem. Honestly, it's like it's one of those things where it's like we talk a lot about like plots that there could have been something there if they did it differently. This one, it's like I don't even know how you make this plot something people could get behind, because like these two characters, they make you sympathize with them the entire movie, and they're like not bad people, and they're you kind of you understand where they're coming from, and then and it's this big misunderstanding to where they're not trying to kill this kid or get this kid or anything like that. It's just this stupid misunderstanding. And then they go into this house where this kid just rips them to pieces. And you're like, and I couldn't laugh at any of it. I was just like, geez, I hope she's okay. It's just like, I felt bad. There's like a scene where she I don't know, she falls a bunch of times, and then she gets her feet set on fire, and then she's laying in the snow. She's
really emphasizing emphasizes all the pain parts, like
right. And you're like, oh, jeez. Like, in this one, I'm just like, you know, but where before I'd be laughing, but here I'm like, oh my God. And then she's like laying in the snow crying. It's supposed to be like a comedic cry, but I can't help just feel like it's a real, she's crying in pain. Oh my gosh. And then like, it all like comes together at the end. And I'm just like, you know what? All this is sort of okay, but there's no way I could get past this really bad miscalculation to be like, this is the plot you want to see in like when they do the Home Alone thing. I don't know. It's like, oddly enough, I don't think it is the worst thing ever. I don't think it's great, but it's like there's some good stuff there, but it's I don't know. I recommend it in a way to where I'm like, if you want to see a Christmas movie, and you know, you could do a lot worse for sure. I saw another one that I'm not even going to mention called Christmas Again. It was just horrible, really just painful to watch. But this one, it's just like a lot of it was fine. There are some really fun callbacks to the original, and they use the score from the original, which I actually appreciate. It's better than Home Alone 3. I'll say that it is better than Home Alone 3. But no, it's leagues behind the other ones. But again, not awful.
It's such a tough thing. It's like, you know, that this has been done so many times with so many different properties where they have done, you know, like what 3 was for this. And now like they do this like reboot or revisualization, you know, whatever you want to call these like versions where it's like, it's essentially the same thing, but it's like a whole nother family, a whole nother person, a whole nother story, but it's just like the same thing done again. And I'm always surprised when they keep doing this. It seems like the percentage of times that this has worked is so few.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's like as much effort as probably went into it, as much money as Disney spent to do this, and for you to respond in the way that you have, you know, just now in your review, I'm surprised they feel, I don't know, enough will to do it. It's just,
I agree. This is where you say stop. Like, I think they tried to they really did try to say, we're going to try to capture some of the feeling of the original here and there, but we're going to make a bunch of tweaks. We're going to make
it's like
the
completely
Robert
separate,
sympathetic.
right? It doesn't relate at all to the originals.
No, I mean, Buzz shows up. Buzz is in the movie. He's like almost like he's like a few steps beyond a cameo to where he's like has some funny references and kind of implies his relationship with Kevin and all that stuff that's ongoing. But it's you know, it's
but you
part
feel
of
like
the
he's the same character, just
like,
like grown up.
He's the same character. It's explicitly the same character.
Okay.
But yeah, you know, it's just, I think this is the best effort I've seen since Home Alone 2. And the funny thing is Home Alone 2 is the same movie over again, except in New York. It really is. But it's got Kevin. So it's great. I mean, you just can't do it again unless you do this like, and this is such a half step too, because like, I feel like if they were giving it their all, they'd be like, they'd get some kid who'd be like, this kid, we think he's as charming as Macaulay Culkin, and he's clearly not. I mean, he's fine, but he's clearly not. It's just, you can't do it.
I mean, it's capturing lightning in a bottle. It really is.
You're right. Like, it is.
Sometimes some people, for some reason that honestly is very hard to put your finger down, have it, and like in Macaulay Culkin's instance, like even he lost it like not long after like those kind of movies that he did at a young age came out. So I don't know why it's hard to even know why he worked so well in those movies at that age. He had such a sweetness to him and just played that likable, smart, like, you know, he just played a lot of different things with his character. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's like, I understand that, you know, you have the likability of a familiar franchise. And so you want to use that. It's just, I can understand it's very hard with a new IP, but it just over and over again, they flop. And I know that's got to be very frustrating for the people that work on these projects. Can you even imagine? I mean, if we put something out there, I mean, you put your time, your sweat, your blood, sweat, and tears sometimes into a project, and then it comes out and people give it like a 3, and then there's YouTube videos like mocking it. I mean, that's got to be incredibly frustrating. I mean, I've listened to podcasts with some of these creative folks, and they say you just have to disconnect it from it, and you can't even read that stuff.
I can only imagine, because it does seem like someone tried here. Like, that's the sad thing. Like, this guy apparently he worked on Borat and Ollie G. Like, he's done some funny things. And Bridget Jones.
It's such a beloved franchise. Like, it's going to get people's attention when you mention Home Alone.
And it's got some big actors in it. I mentioned Ellie Kemper, like Kenan Thompson is in it, and and a few other people here and there. It's like it's like this isn't like they weren't trying at all, and so I'm not super mad at it, but I'm just I really do actually. There's
a lot of recognizable people. I'm looking through the cast list. Yeah,
I recommend it in a weird
Andrew
way.
Daly. That's awesome. Andrew Daly's in it. That's great. He's the best.
I don't honestly do recommend just putting it on, and like, don't invest too much in it, and just. It's almost interesting to watch just because you can see the flaws so obviously as to
you want it to win so bad.
Yeah, it's good enough to where I wish it was a whole lot better, because you see a movie like Home Alone 5 and you're like, well, this is just awful and ridiculous. But like
Home Alone, the Holiday Heist.
Yeah,
I've never even heard of that.
Exactly. It gets real bad, man. It gets dark. How bad it gets. But yeah, I mean, okay. I recommend it in a strange way, but I didn't really like it. I got around to seeing 8-Bit Christmas.
Yes.
When I say got around, I just finished watching it.
Good for you.
Yeah, this is a good one. I think this is a good one. This is one to put on your list for holiday movies to check out here. I mean, it's what's funny? We talk about like movies that are reboots. This was based on a book, so I'm gonna kind of saying
like
this
pretty much
feels
everything.
Weird. Yeah, but saying this feels weird because this is like a Christmas story too, right? In a way, like almost it would have worked if like the dad was like Ralphie or something like that grown up or something. It could have worked if they wanted to do that.
Really cool.
Maybe this is the way to do something like that. Give it a different name. Copy a lot of the elements.
Use the skeletal parts of it, basically.
Yeah, if you're gonna do something like this, I'm not saying just be unoriginal and copy other people's work, but sometimes if you want to capture like the essence of another story without making it a sequel,
like Palm Springs is a perfect example.
It's a Groundhog Day, and then give it your tweaks, because this movie,
but it was very original,
right,
in its own way.
This movie feels familiar and fresh at the same time, because like all the jokes, there's not like they're repeating jokes. They're repeating like kind of like a tone and things here and there. And they do a few twists on a lot of things that happen in A Christmas Story. But no, this is a good watch. It's funny and yeah, likable characters, and that old Christmas spirit shines through at the end, give you the warm and fuzzies. It's a good one, man. Especially like, it does the whole Nintendo thing, so it doesn't like focus tremendously on it, so it's not like a Nintendo movie, but it's like it gives you that feeling of being a kid, and those things that seem quaint now being so illustrious, and be like, ooh, Nintendo, now we can like play those games on the go on our Switch or whatever. But it's like, I don't know.
I thought the kids did a good job. I think
the kids were
really
good.
What sold the story.
Yeah, they were good. I
love it when there's a good cast of kids and it just like has them acting like kids. There's just something so endearing about that.
They're doing that pretty well.
That's what A Christmas Story did as well, but it's a good idea.
I don't know what it is, but I feel like they're doing a better job now these days. But whether it be a movie like Super 8 or It or this or Stranger Things, just they're doing a good job with kids. I feel like in the 2000s, they're like, they put a kid in it, you're like, oh no, the kid,
Make it all cheesy and
one-liners. It's all Jamie from freaking Jingle All the Way. It's all those kind of, you know, and just like, oh
yeah.
But
that's a good example. Yeah,
they're doing a good job now. They're just a bunch of Jake Lloyds just all around, or what's his face from the Santa Claus, you know. You never keep your promises.
Yeah.
But anyways, great stuff. And Steve's on, man. You don't see him in very many things of these. I know he's in that other HBO show.
Yeah, he was in that, and he did a good job in that. I won't get into it.
He's a really good actor.
Something like right off the bat at the beginning of the show, it's like, oh my god.
Plays a really good character in this, and so I've missed seeing him. I didn't see the other show, but
he's coming back.
He's good, coming back, baby. So yeah, good stuff, man. I beat Pokemon. Don't have much to say about it. It was fine. What you got?
Oh my. So I've been watching a few things here and there. Let's go in order of I have the least to say to the most to say. Not that I mean, these are all like movies I've seen before, but we rewatched Office Christmas Party, 2016's Office Christmas Party. That was on TV, and YouTube TV does a cool thing where you're watching something and then you come back and it's recorded the entire thing. And so you can just pick up right where you were. Like,
that's nice.
You don't even have to tell it to do that. It just does it. You log back in and it's like, do you want to watch what you had stopped watching a while back? So I was like, yeah, well, sure. We had watched like the first 20 minutes or something of it. So we ended up watching the whole thing. And that's a solid Christmas movie. Like, it's a modern, like, you know, silly, really silly comedy, but it's good. I mean, you know, it centrally has the theme of Christmas, which to me, like, that's one of the key things for me, as I'll mention in a movie I talk about later, doesn't have. But it's like, as long as it like centrally has like, this is Christmas time, Christmas things are completely involved in like the entire storyline. I mean, obviously it's titled Office Christmas Party, but there's like, I don't know. There's just so much Christmas that it's just like, yes, like I can justify watching this, what is just a complete comedy, but I can justify it as a Christmas movie. And as we've said before, there's never enough Christmas movies. So yeah, I'd recommend it if you haven't seen this. It's definitely worth a watch.
I like it too,
especially at Christmas time. Mm-hmm. And we rewatched one of, honestly, I think Bethany's one of her favorite movies in general, but definitely a Christmas movie is Love Actually.
Yeah.
She just adores that movie. And I think, you know, I haven't seen them all, but of these movies where there's like a ton of stars all in one movie, I think this is like heads above all the rest. There's something that works so much better in like the way this story, you know, interweaves all the different storylines, and you know, you find out how people are connected later on in the movie, and you know, love interests fall away and they love interest flare, and then there's betrayal, and there's just so many good things in this movie, and you know, like in the way the story is organized, whereas like so many of the other versions of this, you know, whether it's Valentine's Day or Mother's Day or
Mother's Day.
I think there was a Mother's Day one. It's like,
I wouldn't put it past them.
There's so many of them, and that's another thing. Like we were talking about earlier, just stop. Please stop doing that.
Right.
Like, you're not gonna get Love Actually again. I'm sorry. It's like I hope you do, but you're not.
Yeah, I think these actors in Love Actually really elevate it to, like, you know,
that's another thing.
Grant and freaking,
that's what I was gonna mention.
Bill
like you have Liam Neeson, you have Bill Nighy, Gregory Fisher, Colin Firth, Emma Thompson.
Oh, Emma Thompson's great in that.
Yeah, Martin Freeman, Chiwetel Ejiofor, Andrew Lincoln, Keira Knightley, like so many good actors. And then there's even like Denise Richards. There's like a bunch of like smaller like characters that are like huge actors.
It's the actresses,
and they're just like thrown in there, and it's something special. I mean, you know, a lot of these people hadn't gone on to do things that. Oh, Alan Rickman, like that's another one. Like, are you kidding me? Like huge actors that have done historic things, and so Rowan Atkinson.
You know,
The
I have a
list goes on and on.
I have a Love Actually ornament on our tree because like we bought the Blu-ray and it just happened to come with an ornament and we're like, sweet. It says like love is
There we
all
go.
around us. I was like, perfect. Yeah, I mean that's a movie I put on too, like probably every year at this point. There's parts of it, you know, that's the thing. I think there's parts of it that I'm like, I genuinely really don't like. Like the whole thing with shoot, it's like certain storylines I'm like, that one I like, that one I don't like the one where he's like the writer and he has like the that I don't know, like the housekeeper or whatever, and they
his wife cheats on him with his brother,
right,
and then he goes off to like write a book, and then the housekeeper's this like woman from I can't remember, Portugal. I think she speaks Portuguese.
I think that's the only one I really
and tries to speak Spanish, and she doesn't understand Spanish. She only speaks Portuguese, so he has to learn it. Yeah, you don't like that one?
That's the one I don't like. For some reason, I'm like,
see, I was gonna say I actually love that storyline. I thought that's sweet at the end when he's like. It's so funny when he's like trying to speak Portuguese to the like father.
Yeah, that
like,
part's funny.
The other sister, he's like. He's here to marry you. She's like, you're just gonna let him marry me? He's like, I'm gonna pay him to marry you.
See, it's like the thing is the movie's so full of charm like that, you know, like moments like that. So we're even like, if the situation's so ridiculous, there's still parts that are so charming that you're like, I could just put this movie on and just kind of feel good about it. So, I don't know. It's a classic. It's become a classic for me. So,
it's so good. So. The other one, speaking of Alan Rickman, the other one's Die Hard. So
Die Hard.
I hadn't seen this one in a long time, and I still hold fast to the idea that this is absolutely not a Christmas movie. There's a Christmas party going on inside of it, but there's plenty of movies that like have these like little things of Christmas. Jordan and I have joked about it in the past.
Right.
But I just can't get behind the idea that this is a Christmas movie, but I don't care. I wanted to watch it anyway. So, you know, I still stand by that, but it's just an amazing movie. I mean, who could say no to Die Hard, you know? So yeah, I got to watch that after a long time, and I don't know that my wife had seen it in a long time. Okay. I mean, I think she'd seen it, but it had been a long time, and I think she actually enjoyed it as well. You know, she's not usually about the acting or the action movies. So as soon as there's like fighting or shooting, she like literally like straight to her phone. Like, I could care less who's going to fight who.
Right.
I get that. I mean, if I was a girl, I'd probably have that exact same feeling about it, but you know, it's got everything you could want. I think as a guy, it's just the best. I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't have to tell everyone how good Die Hard is, but
freaking great.
Bruce Willis, I mean, he's just at his prime, and it's one of those stories. It's such a pretty truncated story, you know, like it's pretty straightforward. You know, there's a guy trying to steal a bunch of money, and you're not quite sure what his intentions are. And then like it slowly gets revealed, and like Bruce Willis like slowly has to do more and more, and it gets grittier and grimier and gets down in the weeds with what he's got to do to like protect his wife and these people. And Alan Rickman, I mean, it's an iconic performance. It's like the best bad guy, you know, antagonist, whatever you want to call him. But yeah, that movie's just great. So, you know,
Reginald Vell Johnson is really good in that movie. He like brings a certain like heart and warmth to the movie that really does kind of like tie everything together. He's great.
I love them talking back and forth over the radio. It's great. And then, you know, the contrast that with like the police chief behind him, like chirping about who is that guy? For all we know, he's one of the terrorists.
Yeah.
And then the cocky FBI agents that come in and have no idea what they're doing basically and act like they're all big and bad. It's just, yeah, there's so many great parts of that movie. Just go watch it again if you haven't seen it again.
Great.
So worth it.
Absolutely. It's one of those things where it's like, is it a Christmas movie? No. But it does feel good watching it around this time because like, they're celebrating Christmas like I am. You know, it's like that sort. And on that kind of level, you know, like Green Knight. Indulge me in this Christmas game, Luke. Indulge me.
I don't know if it's anywhere close to Green Knight. I do enjoy that movie, but for very different reasons.
Boldest of blood. Wildest at heart. Indulge me.
Last night we were just popping through some Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and oh man, that show, it's like every time I go back and like try to find an episode I haven't seen, it's like they just always up the ante with the ridiculousness. It's amazing to me that like there hasn't been more complaints and they haven't been like a victim of cancel culture just because of some of the stuff that they got into even in earlier things. Like I'm totally fine with it. Like offend as many people as you want. I'm not a big stickler on that kind of thing, but there's plenty of people out there on the internet who've gone on tirades for people for a lot less than what It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia has done. So I love it. Keep going, guys. I think they are now the longest running sitcom in the history of TV.
Heck freaking yeah.
Insane.
Yeah.
It's crazy, but they fill a niche that, you know, I don't think anybody's made TV like they have. They just,
no.
It's so cruddy humor. Like it's almost its own category. Like it's like there's the kind of humor that is like made to offend people. You know, we've seen some of those like stand-ups, and there's like some animated shows that do that kind of thing. And then there's like you know, most sitcoms where it's just like funny and relatable and all that. They do like all those things at the same time. And they're like literally gross, like not just like offensively gross, but like they actually talk about like eating worms and crap, like ridiculous things. And it's just, I don't know. It just
eating
for
moldy
some reason,
soup.
Danny DeVito is a disgusting human being in
so
that
gross.
show, but he does it in a way that it makes you laugh so much. Yeah, I never in a million years, you know, looking back on stuff I'd seen before Danny DeVito was in this, would have ever thought that this is where Danny DeVito's career would take him.
Reach the second wind to where it's like this long-running beloved series. Who's your favorite character on the show, do you think?
It's got to be Charlie. I mean, he's the best.
Dennis, I think, is probably, because he's like supposed to be the one that's most together, but he's probably the one who's most insane. I like to bind. Like I like to be bound.
It's one of those shows. Talking about it like just makes me want to go watch it.
Oh, yeah, it's freaking great.
It's crazy how, I mean, we're on like season 18 or something, 16,
something like that, in that neighborhood.
It's crazy, and it's like it's still something I could easily watch. Like,
yeah,
can you imagine like The Walking Dead? I mean, it only took like 3 or 4 seasons to where we're like, nope, we're done. I don't know. There's just I think it's also something about like comedy. You know, I mean, it's a lot more evergreen than it is like an action series or even a drama series like Lost. It's like you can only go so far into like mystery and like intrigue. It's like at a certain point, it's like, I just want answers. I'm done.
Yeah, especially a show like this,
pulled around,
where it's like with shows like Friends or The Office, or these are characters who have to go somewhere. No, these characters in Always Sunny, they're idiots. They're egotistical idiots, and they'll always be egotistical, horrible idiots.
They set it in your mind that these are just people who are hanging around their bar, just doing stupid crap all the time. So it's like they could literally do anything in an episode and be like, well, that makes sense.
Right.
Literally anything. Like just how it is.
As long as you can think of funny, stupid things to do.
Yeah.
You can keep going.
It's such a good formula. So really good. That's about it.
Cool. One last thing, I do want to mention something that is on HBO Max. It's a playlist of sitcom Christmas specials. So like if you're looking for like say the Fresh Prince Christmas episode or a Friends Christmas episode, there's a bunch of them there. Check it out.
Do it.
Cool. Well, man, you know, there's a bunch of cool stuff coming. There's just a few news beats though here. I mean, like obviously like next week we'll talk about Game Awards and then Spider-Man after that. Insanely excited. But there's a couple things I want to discuss with you, Luke. I think probably the biggest one is Bloomberg just reported that PlayStation is getting ready to launch a new subscription service or a reiteration of their current subscription service. I guess
Indeed, they did.
as their like Game Pass kind of thing. I thought we can talk a little bit about this. I feel like there's a lot of questions that still need answering before I form a full opinion, because, until then, there's a lot of speculation as far as what I want it to be and hope it'll be and all that stuff. But I don't know, what are your thoughts like when you read this, or kind of read the baseline of what this is going to be, or reported to be, because I think this is pretty early still. It's not gonna be till like early next year, like into first quarter next year, something like that.
To be brutally honest, I think my first reaction was, well, no, that's Microsoft's thing. I think it was just like my raw reaction. But then, like, thinking more into it, I was thinking like, it could be a problem for Microsoft. I think the thing that Sony brings to the table that Microsoft just cannot compete with is just the depth of their catalog. Like going back all the way to the original PlayStation, I think there's going to be a lot more nostalgia grab for Sony, depending on how fully inclusive they are with their service, which I think Sony has shown that they can a lot of times stumble in that area. But if they were able to do the impossible and bring back every single PlayStation 1 that they have, the ability to use the license for, every PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4 game, probably not PlayStation 4. I would assume that would be held behind more of a paywall. And that's the big question, isn't it? I mean, because that's something that Game Pass does a pretty good job at. They certainly don't have all the Xbox One games on there, but they have quite a few games. So, that's going to be the first thing, is like how big it is. But I think for a group of people, not everyone, but a group of people are very nostalgic gamers, and they're going to want to go back to those PlayStation 1 games that they grew up with, and those PlayStation 2 games, which, PlayStation 2, it's historic. There was some amazing games on that system. So, and the nostalgia and the amount of people that actually want to go back, is always less than the people that want to play modern games. But I think that could be just that one thing to where it's like, I could get Game Pass, or I could get Spartacus, whatever the PlayStation thing ends up being. But
don't call it Spartacus, please. I know it's not going to be
code name. I mean, I don't know what else to call it.
Not you. I'm talking to PlayStation. Who's
It'll probably be PlayStation right now. So, I think when you're comparing services, if you have the ability to have both systems like you do, I think the edge is going to go to PlayStation, assuming they're pretty competitive on the more modern games, because, I think a lot of gamers our age, and even maybe a little bit younger, have grown up playing these systems for a lot of years, and are going to want to go back to, Earthworm Jim. I don't know, something like that. It's just like you have been talking about with the Nintendo, being able to go back to the N64 games. That was a big draw for you,
right?
Upgrading services. So
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think I see it in a little bit of a different way. Like, especially just now, for some reason, I've just lately been just more and more impressed with the Game Pass, just because like there's certain things that in comparing it with like PlayStation Plus and PlayStation Now, it depends on what they do, man. I mean, like, especially looking at their current and modern and their retro games, because like I have this lack of confidence in some of the decisions that they're going to make. For instance, okay, so you get a game on Game Pass, right? Which version of the game is it going to be? It's going to be the best version of the game that it can be based on the console that you have. Simple answer. Right, right now with PlayStation, a game comes on PlayStation Now. What version of the game is going to be? Right now, that's an easy answer. It's going to be the PlayStation 4 version. So for instance, today they released Grand Theft Auto 3, just 3, the definitive edition, kind of similar to how San Andreas is on Game Pass, similar, and that's on a PlayStation Now, and it's the PlayStation 4 version of the game. It's not like, oh, you're playing it on PlayStation 5, of course it's gonna be. No, it's backwards compatible PlayStation 4.
Well, the PlayStation 5 version hasn't come out yet.
No, it's out. It's out, just like the Series X one. I mean, they're all out. It's just
really,
yeah, it's all out. The physical versions got delayed, but they released day and date the next gen because the game's a mess, and the current gen one. But like, yeah, you're playing it on PS4 limitations, meaning it's lower resolution and stuff like that, and so. And also with
this says it doesn't arrive till March 2022.
It's the physical version. The physical version was delayed.
That's insane that they would bring out the digital before the physical. Why would you even make a physical then?
I don't know. I don't know why they should.
Who's going to be waiting on the disc?
Especially at this point.
It's almost with a game like Grand Theft Auto 5. If you don't have the internet to download the game, why do you even have the game? That's
right.
Just
right.
Well, I did not realize there was 2 versions coming out. That's so weird.
Yeah. It's a weird situation all in all. But like, this is like the confusing stuff I'm talking about.
But it's saying online isn't coming to those until March 2022. So like just the remastered game came out?
They're getting online?
It says GTA 5 and GTA Online coming to PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X March 2022.
Not GTA 5 though. I'm talking about the trilogy definitive edition situation.
Okay.
With 3 and Vice City and
I thought you were talking about GTA 5.
No, I mean that I don't know what the situation with that's going to be when it comes out. It's probably going to be messy too.
I thought you were saying it was giving you the PlayStation 4 version of GTA 5.
Oh no,
because I was saying like, well, it's not out yet. So.
Oh no, it's GTA 3.
Gotcha.
Similar to how they Xbox did San Andreas, but like, yeah, it's the version 4, and it's like, why?
But dude, are we talking about the ones that you complained about so much about in the remastered version or the whatever it's called version? Yeah. Definitive edition.
Yeah.
But I mean, do we still not know if those are based off the mobile versions?
They are based off the mobile versions.
I mean, it's not the PlayStation 4 version. It's just the mobile version converted to a PlayStation 4.
Yeah, I mean,
that's the insane part.
They did a lot of work to them. That game's a mess.
They look really bad. I mean, in all the screenshots I've seen, they don't look like anything I've seen on console. They look like something that's from a mobile game.
Yeah, it is what you'd expect
with a
mobile game, right?
The filter over it to make it look better.
It's like this. It's like a thing that keeps happening with like they'll say.
That's not a great example because I think there's just so many problems with that.
But like they did this with Judgment and a bunch of other games. So it's like, okay, here's the PS4 version, and so it's almost feels like, great, thanks, but I'm playing on a PS5. It could very well have easily been the PS5 version, but you gave the PS4 version, so it's like, what? And also strange things like this, like so.
Why do you think they're doing that?
I don't know. I don't know if it's a money thing to be like, well, if
you want the better one, you better pay for it.
But it's not the case with like, say, Xbox. So, for instance, Mortal.
Yeah, I think that does get to the heart of it. It's like that's not the way Xbox does it. I mean,
exactly.
That's more of a company level thing to be like. If you want the better version, you should really be paying for it. The subscription thing is more of just a, hey, if you want this, it's available.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So if it's like that on Xbox, why not on PlayStation? Like if like they like
I think like I'm saying, I think it's like a company wide thing where it's like from the CEO, I think the message has come like we do the minimum when it comes to the subscription stuff. Like if people want the quality, they're going to have to pay for it. I think it's, they still haven't gotten away from the idea that like people buy games. That's how they access games. They don't subscribe to games. If they want that, we'll throw it in as an extra. I mean, I'm just restating what you said, but it does feel like that.
It
does. With the things that you've complained about. I mean, I haven't even experienced this, but like the PlayStation Now stuff, it's like, it's just kind of unexcusable. Like, if you're going to offer a subscription thing, like you need to work those bugs out, or you need to like offer a discount, say it's in beta or something. Like people shouldn't be running into the things that you were saying you were running into with that streaming service.
Yeah. And it's like one of those things. I'm not being like, Entitled or whatever, I'll buy. If there's a game that I want, I'll buy it. Like it's what I do. It's
You
what
just
I've
want it to work
been
well.
doing.
I mean,
Yeah, and I don't want the
perfectly reasonable.
subscription to be confusing. To be like, oh, you're gonna get this, but you're still gonna want to buy the next gen version or whatever. It kind of feels weird.
Yeah,
It
that's
feels
just annoying.
and like the same thing can be true with like PlayStation Plus stuff. For instance, they did this twice where a PS5 version of a game will come out, but they already gave, like, they'd have a free upgrade maybe, or like a small fee for the upgrade. And they already gave that game away free for PlayStation Plus. They'll do this thing where they'll be like, oh, that free upgrade or that small charge, it's not eligible if you bought the PS Plus version of the game. Like if you claimed that game via PlayStation Plus. They did this with Final Fantasy VII Remake, and they're doing it with Uncharted 4. So these are games I bought, so I don't really have to worry about that. But if you got them on PlayStation Plus, you're like, yeah, I have that game. And it's like, right. Oh, and the PS5 version's coming out. You're like, oh, cool. I'd love to play with those updated. And then, $10 more. That's not too bad. And then they're like, oh no, but if you got it on PlayStation Plus, I'm sorry, full price. That's like, it seems like that's such a choice where it's like, I don't know if they're like reserving the privilege for like some sort of subscription service. Right. I just can't imagine them changing. Like, I can't imagine that sort of thing being like, oh, well, now that we're doing this subscription service, we're going to start doing things like that right now. I
don't think we have different points of view. I think my point was just that I think their deeper library could be a draw for gamers.
Yes, they have much more.
I don't think I disagree with what you've been saying now.
Right.
I think that's pretty accurate.
And then there's some things that Xbox does that I'm just like, I can praise the ever living crap out of it. The fact that they have their 360 games, some of them like Final Fantasy 13 and Red Dead, and they look amazing. They did crap to them, and I'm like, wow, they look the best they've ever looked. They did crap, and and actually, I'm not that confident that that PlayStation 3 games are going to be able to run natively. I mean, I have the sinking feeling that they still might be via streaming, and that
would be insane.
That would be horrible. I think that's like, ugh.
I wonder how much work goes into that. There must be some good reason behind that. I can only imagine. I mean, I wouldn't say Sony's a lazy company when it comes to their games. I mean, they obviously have put a lot of money into all these studios, and they come out with some amazing first-party student games, and they clearly work on their partnerships. I mean, I'm always in awe of how much Sony does. So, I wish Xbox got more of the exclusives that PlayStation does. I mean, it's always frustrated me that Spider-Man's basically completely hidden behind this paywall when it comes to the Spider-Man games now. And, Spider-Man on PlayStation 2 was one of my favorite games back then. And I would love to play him in the modern era, but I'm not going to go out and buy a PlayStation 5 just to play that
$500 console for that. Yeah, it's like, yeah, I get you. And yeah, they have a great library, and that's going to be a strength for them. Like if depending on the games they release, if they're like, because right now, honestly, there's already an amazing deal. Like if you have PlayStation Plus and you get a PS5, immediately you unlock they're like, here's the PlayStation Plus collection, and it's like all these like top-notch games you get immediately. That's fan-freaking-tastic. As someone who's been in that infrastructure for ages, I mean, like I've already purchased most of those games, but still, that's great. But if their service is just like it opens the gates and here are like basically if it's a game that's first party and it's been out for over a year, because I do not think they're not gonna do that whole day one thing, on whatever subscription.
That would change the equation a lot there.
That would be insane. That would be insane.
Depth of their catalog could be a big draw, but if you're not coming out with first party games day one, I
do not think.
And you're right. I mean, that seems to be the bread and butter when it comes to PlayStation Studios. Like they make, I think, most of their money. I mean, from what the rumors and stuff I understood of the actual construction of the PlayStation 5 and like that hard drive that they, I think, spent a lot of like development time and money on. I have to think that Sony's like right there if not taking a loss on that PlayStation every time, it's got to be really close if they're not.
Right.
And, because of that, you always want to make that up in volume of games. And if you all of a sudden have a subscription service where, you're not getting that $70 now for each new game.
Yeah.
I don't know, but at the same time, I will say, like, subscription, I think in 2021 has shown that is a cash cow, and it's something that people, they really don't unsubscribe to very often. So
Yeah.
I think it is a better system for companies. Netflix obviously has been like the best example of that. And I mean, what I looked it up the other day, Amazon's new Lord of the Rings show is going to clear $1 billion for budget. That's just insane.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. And that shows you like how much money is in that kind of thing. Like, I'm sure the Lord of the Rings movies didn't come anywhere near that back in the day, but so these subscription services do make a lot of money. So I don't know. I think it depends on what the company sees as their future. Like, do they see a subscription service as a cornerstone to PlayStation, or do they see it as just an extra service that they offer and, they send a few developers over there to like keep it updated?
Yeah.
I think that'll be the big question. Do they see it like we have to respond to Game Pass, or do they see it as like, we could really use this as our next platform. We could release things, exclusively to it at first and then build up to where everything releases to it. Is there like a future plan? What does that chalkboard look like, deep in the offices of Santa Barbara studio, or, where the Japanese head of PlayStation studio, wherever it is.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to know what that game plan looks like for them. I think we'll know some of those answers when more things get announced at, whatever the next PlayStation, whatever they call it.
State of play.
PlayStation Direct. State of play.
Yeah. Get it? Play. I would love to see it be just as good as Game Pass all the way up to like just coming short. If it's short of the whole first party day one thing, which I don't think there's a world where like say Spider-Man 2 or whatever comes out day one, or God of War Ragnarok. I just don't see that ever being a possibility. Yeah. And also something I don't want to see, it's like Microsoft has gone full hog on it. And it was like, no, every first party one is going to be day one. What I don't want to see is them do the whole like, Disney Plus thing to be like, okay, no, it's not going to be day one, but it'll be after 6 months or a year. Because what I would really hate to see people like them take a big loss on it and people be like, I'll wait for Spartacus or whatever for like God of War Ragnarok, and like the studios are left holding the bag. It's like that would be a nightmare scenario where like Insomniac is like made like Wolverine and Spider-Man 2, and they're like, and then we got a bunch of people be like, no, we'll wait for Spartacus. It'll be out in a year, and it's like for free. And I'm just like, oh, that would not. That
feels like a weird world there.
Yeah, I don't want to see that happen. I feel like that would be bad for everyone. It's like, regardless, I would get those games day one if that was the case. I want to support games that are good, games that I want. I mean, and
that really cheapens your subscription.
It really does too. It does. It like, don't do a half measure. Don't make some sort of promise that it'll be out within a year. Don't do that. Just say, hey, a lot of our like they're going to get a lot of PS5 games. You're going to get a lot of PS4 games, and we're going to put a crap ton of PS1, 2, and 3 games on there. And I want to see PlayStation. I want them to make it happen. I know the PlayStation 3 is infamously hard to emulate and hard to get it to run right. I hope they work that out to make them run natively. I do not want to stream Infamous 2. I want to play it on console. And so I hope they work that out. That's the best case scenario for me. I don't even want them to really worry about the whole first party coming soon or whatever, unless they have like this insane thing where they're like, we're supporting Naughty Dog and like Insomniac the same way Microsoft is supporting their studios to be able to do the day one thing. Unless it's something like that, I don't want them to even encroach on that whole situation if they're not going to do it that way.
the more you've talked about it, the more you've raised questions in my mind, like how are they even going to organize this announcement? Like, because if it is something like you're saying, like, oh, there's going to be a crap ton of PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, it's like,
Yeah.
well, how many? Which ones? I mean, the questions immediately arise, like, what are we actually getting for the $10, $20, whatever it is, per month? I would assume it's probably just going to match Game Pass in price. But yeah, I mean, that'll be the thing. I guess Game Pass has done it in a way where they've never really announced the exact games that are in there. It's more just like, here's some new games that are coming out, like shotgun approach, and you don't really hear announcements these games are leaving. It's just you kind of have to go in there and search for yourself and see what's in there. But I guess the big games are the ones people are really wanting to know. But, when something like this comes out, you want to know right off the bat, like, what are we getting? How many are there? And which ones are there? So I guess, in the announcement, it'll probably just be like a highlight reel of these are the big ones that you should know about and be excited kind of thing. But
right.
I don't know. There's just so many PlayStation games. It's just, yeah, I really wonder how deep this is going to be.
And also, Game Pass didn't become Game Pass as we know it today, in one day. It was like a years long process to it be, I think, as good as it is now. I mean, like, one of the big things was the whole first party day one thing. That was a big head turner for like everyone when they announced that. I mean, before then it was still good. It was still really good, but then there was that, and then they like really expanded on the whole backwards compatible thing. And now they're adding things like FPS boost and stuff. We're like, yeah, if you want to play this old game, you want to play Fallout 3 and have it run at 4K, 60 frames per second, the best this game's ever ran. It's like, holy freaking crap, this is amazing. And so it's really leveled up just year after year after year. And then adding obviously EA Play and freaking Bethesda stuff. It's just really turned into this thing where it's like everyone has to acknowledge how amazing Game Pass is,
Yeah.
And so maybe it will become that, where it's like over time. I mean, maybe the same thing is true for like Nintendo's on service in its own right. Of course, it's never going to be anything like that, but so I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm putting too much hope into like what it's going to be right out the gate, but
yeah,
hope it's not relying.
I mean, it's a big announcement, so I mean, it's there's a lot of questions, so. A lot of wait and see kind of things here.
Right. Got anything else on this? A couple other things.
No, I don't think so.
Okay. A big thing is this something kind of rumored for a while, but it's been confirmed and I'm happy to hear it. Charlie Cox has been confirmed by Kevin Feige to continue as Daredevil in the MCU, as he is Daredevil, and we're not gonna recast or anything like that. Yeah, I mean, this has been a big thing. I think for a lot of people on the internet, like a lot of people have been championing this for a while to, one, bring back Daredevil, and two, for it to be Charlie Cox, to come back and not see some other guy return.
All I can say is like every Netflix Marvel show, first of all, should be brought back immediately, except for maybe, was it Iron Fist? That show was terrible. But all those shows like were so good. Almost all those shows were so good. And all those actors did an amazing job. And to recast those characters would be ludicrous. It doesn't make any sense. Like the casting directors like spent a lot of time finding those actors, and they set up a great universe. Jessica Jones, I love that show. Perfect casting. I thought it was great incarnation of Jessica Jones. And exact same thing with Daredevil, and same thing with Luke Cage. Don't you love it when your brain goes? Well, yeah, that's another one. That's not who I was thinking of, but yeah,
Punisher.
Yeah, each one of those characters were just perfect, and they were in
really good, great
shows, of slightly varying quality, but all of them I would say were above a 6 or better in quality, except for Iron Fist. I just I don't know why. I just didn't. I did not connect with that show at all, and it's not that the actor was bad. I just I didn't think he fit that role very well. He just,
Yeah.
I don't know. He did not seem like a kung fu artist. I did not buy that.
I'd like to see it done. Like, even if I'd like to see him have another shot at it, maybe with better writers and choreographers.
Yeah.
I don't know, but
yeah. Sometimes those things can be the reason. You're right.
Have you been watching Hawkeye?
No, I've not.
Okay. Well, I was meaning to like act through the full episode, like when it's over, you know, and there's only like 3 episodes left. But yeah, we'll talk about it because there's like some, you know, things hinting towards a certain Netflix character to make an appearance soon. So I'd like to talk about that, and I'm sure we will. But yeah, I think it's like they're going to almost like a soft reboot almost. I don't think we're going to hear about a lot of the adventures they went on explicitly during their Netflix series, but they'll take those characters, they'll take those characterizations of them and kind of just be like, okay, let's just continue. Let's just keep going without looking back. They did
so much, and they did it such a high quality with those Netflix shows. I mean, I'm thinking back on like all the seasons of those shows, and like, yeah, there was like so many crossovers that happened. So good. They developed their own universe, and then it just went into the ether. It
is strange.
Amazes me when I think back on that.
Daredevil, to me, like, you know, I think Luke Cage and Jessica Jones had a great first season. The Daredevil, I think, is the one that was like this. It stood out as being like, this is just good quality stuff, and it stayed that way. And yeah, it was just fantastic. And Charlie Cox, I think, was the best of the bunch, where he's just like, he's really likable, really likable Matt Murdock. And so I'm very happy. You know, I had suspicions that might happen. There's a lot of rumors floating around, but it brought me some joy. No doubt.
I forgot there was an entire season of the Defenders. That's right.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Yep.
I thought that second season of The Punisher was a masterpiece. It was so freaking good. It like talked about like PTSD, and I think it handled it better than I've seen any piece of media handle it. Like,
wow.
The intensity of it. Did you never watch
I need to watch it. Yeah.
It's so good. The first season was great of The Punisher, but the second season I think was like, seriously, it was like a masterpiece in like, you know, superhero or whatever you want to call the Punisher. He's not really a superhero, but he's, you know, whatever, an anti-hero.
Yeah, he's in there. He's in the world.
I mean, he doesn't have like abilities, so it's like, can he be called a superhero?
His ability is being able to kill people.
But that second season was just incredible. I mean, I like Daredevil. Absolutely. I agree with everything you said. I think you should go back and see the second season of The Punisher. And
I will.
I hope you'll agree with me. I was blown away by it.
That I shall. I'm going to go back. It's like whole news has made me like think about it. Like, man, there was some really good stuff there. And so I need to go back. I don't
understand what happened.
Even if they move forward away from like what was told, just so they can like kind of, I don't know, like have a fresh start in a way, those should not be forgotten. Like, those should not fade into obscurity, because there were just some fantastic things there. Like season 1 of Jessica Jones with that freaking villain. It's just that fantastic. And so, I don't want those shows.
And then introducing Luke Cage in Jessica Jones.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
I forgot.
So cool.
They did that.
Yeah. It's just such a cool universe they developed. I really don't understand why Marvel didn't partner with Netflix instead of like pulling the plug on their whole thing. It just, there must have been like some kind of arguments or something behind closed doors that we don't know about.
Right. There was like a division of Marvel that kind of faded away. That was like the whole division that brought us things like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And it was like that same division that brought us those Netflix shows, and they kind of just parted ways. And I don't know. I feel like, you know, I would like to see them say, hey, we're just going to take these shows, bring them onto Disney Plus, and keep going on Disney Plus. I mean, I guess you could argue
Netflix probably owns some rights to that, so that may be difficult.
Yeah, they'd have to buy them.
That's what's so frustrating. They're probably in some kind of limbo now. And Netflix is probably like, well,
Right.
You want to do them together because we don't want to let them go.
No,
I wouldn't blame them for not wanting to.
Don't blame them at all. Yeah, I mean it's interesting, the whole situation, but
just work together, just like Sony does with Spider-Man. Just work together, guys. Like it's mutually beneficial. Sure, it might not be as good as if Netflix owned it outright, but also the quality would probably slip, and it's not going to be as good if it's only on Marvel. But Netflix does have the best platform in the world, so there is a benefit there for Marvel. So just work together, sing Kumbaya, and get it done, guys.
I've noticed something with Netflix, like, there's varying quality with different streaming services. A lot of them look really good now these days. But man, like sometimes like Netflix stuff, especially like Netflix original stuff, I'm like, man, did you guys turn my TV into like an 8K TV? Like, how good is your streaming quality? Oh my God.
I'm sure they own all the servers at this point.
Jeez Louise.
But then you got Amazon, who like literally their cornerstone of their business is
our servers.
Is servers. So
yeah.
And the same kind of thing with Microsoft.
That is true.
Yeah. And Apple, honestly, as well.
I'm
glad everyone's like pushing the quality up higher and higher. Like,
yes, absolutely. Please continue.
Because it was kind of lacking there, I think, at the beginning.
Right. HBO has gotten much better. I was complaining a lot about them. They've gotten loads better.
They're the one that like they really have to like get help from other larger tech companies because they are only an entertainment company. So streaming is kind of like a whole nother thing for them to go into. So.
Yeah. Disney Plus did pretty good right out the gate, offering a lot of 4K, HDR kind of stuff.
And, well, they're very close to Apple, so I can imagine like that partnership probably helped Disney.
Apple looks great.
There's like some of the people on the board for Disney are also on the board for Apple, and I know Steve Jobs was close with like the CEO of Disney for a long time, and now his widow, I think, is also on the board of Disney, or at least was.
I finally got around to watching that Ted Lasso Christmas episode.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's excellent.
I hope you loved it.
I did love it. Like, no, we're continuing with the series. Season
you see what
now.
I'm saying? It's like such a completely separate from everything else piece of entertainment.
Almost shockingly so, because like
exactly. I'm watching this. I'm like, what are we watching?
Yeah, because Jamie,
I didn't know what was coming.
Like Jamie came back on the team like the episode before, and I was expecting like, oh man, it's gonna be a big deal with like Sam and everything, and then it just kind of moved past it, and it was like, oh, Christmas episode. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, clearly like filmed completely separately of everything else.
Yeah, surely.
Clearly.
Completely out of sequence, but not noticeably so, but also definitely its own thing, which it was very nice. Very great. Heartwarming as can be.
It was.
Basically,
everyone should just watch that. I mean, it's such a good Christmas piece of entertainment, like I've said.
Right. I meant to bring this up, but I'm almost caught up with Mythic Quest. I haven't talked too much about it. I don't know why I'm talking about this stuff towards the end of the episode.
Nice.
Whatever. It's whatever, man. Sometimes you don't think of things.
Yeah.
I think that's. Have you? Quick question. Did you pre-download that Matrix thing?
No. Matrix thing. What thing?
There's something that's dropping.
You can pre-download the movie.
Yeah, you can pre-download the movie early. No. It's
giving everybody a bootleg copy.
Remember that bootleg thing you downloaded of Matrix Reloaded, Luke? Well, here you go.
First bootleg thing you ever did.
The Matrix Awakens. It's an Unreal 5 experience. It's on next-gen consoles.
Huh.
It's coming out on Thursday, same day as the Game Awards. I don't know if it's going to be that evening or
tech demo.
Yeah.
Interesting. So are they coming out with an actual game, or it's just a demo for the movie?
I imagine it's going to be kind of like, oh, check out Matrix, check out Unreal Engine 5. I'm
watching the teaser for it.
Yeah, they're saying that Keanu Reeves there isn't real or whatever, that he's Unreal Engine 5 creation, which is crazy.
Wow, that was incredibly small.
Yeah, it's nothing, but
15 seconds of him saying, what is real?
Right. What is Unreal? Engine 5.
Welcome to Unreal.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'll look that up.
Cool indeed. Anyways,
29 gigs. A big demo.
Yeah.
It's as big as the whole Halo Infinite campaign. Oh my gosh.
Wow. Yeah. I don't know what to expect from that. Are all Unreal Engine 5 games going to be that big? Yeah. Is it going to be an open world game that we can just play immediately? That'd be something.
Put 16K assets in here. You can only see them in 4K, but do they look good?
Oh yeah, super sampling, baby. Yeah, I don't know what it's gonna be, but yes, that's a lot of space for an experience of any sort. I mean,
the Xbox Store listing promises a wild ride into the reality-bending universe of the Matrix. It features performances by Keanu Reeves and Carrie-Anne Moss.
Alrighty then.
Huh.
Wow, we only got a couple weeks till that movie comes out too. I mean,
oh my gosh, it's crazy. That movie just like, I feel like I don't know anything about it, and I love it.
Yeah, it is kind of nice to feel that way.
I feel so teased.
You're titillated,
yet
Luke.
So intrigued.
You've been titillated.
Indeed. I'm ready.
All right. Well, we'll talk about Game Awards and see what this Matrix experience is next week.
This tiny little demo of 29 gigs.
Yeah, right.
What world do we live in now? Crazy.
I know. Well, all right. Have a good night, Luke.
See ya.
Recording stopped.